Hi, Josh Steimle coming to you from Shenzhen, China. And just so you know, I'm authentic about this testimonial I'm about to give for the Razor Sharp Marketing podcast. I'm wearing my pajamas. I haven't showered yet, so you know I'm telling you the truth, right? So I was on the Razor Sharp Marketing podcast a few weeks ago with Matt Romania, the host, and there are three things that make a great podcast host. First of all, they're organized before the podcast ever happens. So Matt reached out to me. He was organized. He gave me the information of what I needed to know coming on as a guest. He followed up with me to make sure that I was prepared for the podcast. He sent me reminders so that I would know when it was coming up and I wouldn't miss it, things like that. Second, a great podcast host speaks well. They can talk. They don't sound awkward. I mean, I probably sound a little awkward right now. Matt's a much better speaker than I am. So Matt did a great job speaking, doing the interview, leading me through the questions, made me feel very comfortable. Matt's job is to make the guests look good because it's the guests who are giving the content, and I feel like Matt did a great job of that. He made it easy for me to participate in the podcast. And third, the podcast host, the great podcast host, follows up afterwards, does a great job with promotion, does a great job getting that podcast episode out there. The poor podcast host will never get the episode up at all. They'll get disorganized, they'll lose the file, something will happen. When they finally get it out there, it's not out there in very good form. Matt did. He's got a process down to a science. He's got a great website. I'll put a link down in the notes on this YouTube video. But he did a great job with follow-up and promotion of that podcast. He's followed up with me several times since, promoting the material, getting it out there. That makes me feel good as a guest, because I know that if I go on his show that he's going to push that content out there and I'm going to get more publicity for it. I've done about 15 podcast interviews. I've been interviewed by podcasters like John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneur on Fire and others, and Matt's up there on the top of my list. He did a great job as a host. He's got a great podcast. Go check out all the content, all the interviews that he's got there. I guarantee if you're into marketing, you're going to love this podcast.